Hello there, and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalists Hangout. I am Kemi Foladiemo. Today on the program, Kaduna State Government shuts down telecommunications services, bans Okada operations for 3 months over the rise in insecurity, as bandits kill 30 in Sarkin Power, the headquarters of Munian local government area of Niger State. Also, House of Reps vows to probe the rising cost of food, goods and services in Nigeria. I'll be hanging out today with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adekunle Yusuf. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
I'm glad to be here.
If you're ready, Journalists Hangout starts now. To tackle the desperate security situation in Kaduna State, Governor Nasir El-Rufai is taking more desperate measures. And in these fresh measures announced by the state's Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, on Wednesday, the state has now commenced enforcement of the shutdown of telecommunications services in parts of the state, as well as an immediate ban on the use of motorcycles, popularly called Okada, this for commercial or personal purposes in the state for 3 months. Also in the neighboring Niger State, more measures appear needed to check the worsening insecurity ravaging the north-central state. In fresh attacks, gunmen invaded Sarkin Power, that's the headquarters of Munian local government area of the state, killing about 30 people. More and more concerns a BKO as we kick off the program today. Only yesterday, insecurity topped the most part of our discussions, and here we are today. But if you look at the Kaduna situation, how appropriate do you see these security measures that are now about to be enforced or enforced now in Kaduna?
Yes, Kaduna had joined some states of the northwest geopolitical zone to take some measures, including banning the sale of petrol and jerrycans, including the closure of some livestock markets and closure of some roads that bandits are known to use. There are some roads that are been abandoned by people because they are not safe, but those bandits use those roads. So governments, some of the northwest states decided to ban the use of those roads so that anybody who is seen on that road by the armed forces is a legitimate target. So that is where we are. And then even felling of trees, they are trying to block their access to things that they know they need badly to survive. And some of those measures are working. For example, even because they need petrol to move around on their bikes. They need those bikes to move around. So if you impose a ban on the use of motorbikes, whether for commercial purpose or even for personal use, then it's going to hurt the activities of these guys. Of course, to telecommunication, banning the use of telecommunication services, shutting down telecommunication services will also hurt them, because what the security agencies have discovered is that while the bandits are in the forest, the people who actually negotiate ransom with the relatives of captives reside in the cities. From some of the arrests that they have made, this information came out. We've said repeatedly that, look, the guys that you see wielding AK-47 or AK-49, those dirty-looking bandits, they have their masters. Those masters do not reside in the forest with them. They are living with you and I, and they are the ones who sponsor these acts of criminalities against our people. So now, when you ban the telco services and you shut down telco services, it becomes difficult for those people to also negotiate for ransom. When you block, when you stop the use of those, when you close those livestock markets, some of the cattle that they rustle, they will not be able to sell them. So life becomes much more difficult for them. And that is why we've seen bandits now moving from Zamfara to neighboring Sokoto. You will see that the activities of bandits, there has been an uptick in the activities of bandits in the Sokoto area in the last 2 weeks, because a good number of them have now moved from Zamfara, where they are being bombarded, to Sokoto State. So, and that's why we've always suggested that, look, this military campaign should be coordinated across all those contiguous states. If you target a particular state, they will run away and move to another state where they are not being bombarded. So it's a good thing that Kaduna has taken these steps. 3 months ban on the use of motorbikes. Who knows? Perhaps at the end of these 3 months, the governor may think of even making it permanent. Although I have to stress that the meeting that was held before these decisions were reached by Kaduna State Government, even the union, the Motorcycle Riders Union, agreed that in the interest of peace, that this measure should be allowed to take place. So,
all right. Okay, I'll get back to you, BKO, now for more of your analysis on the situation in Kaduna and what the government is doing to douse tensions there. But Adekunle, what are your, points of concern, if at all, on this moves to curtail the violence in Kaduna State?
Well, I truly, just like Jide, I support some of the actions, but there are ones that, when I look at, I just wonder whether we are taking the right decisions, whether we are thinking properly, whether we are making use of what we have, whether we are being honest enough, whether we are being considerate. You get my point? Okay. Why would you shut down, telecom services? Because you want to solve insecurity? To me, that is one tool that you should have used. Technology is beautiful if you know how to use it. That's one tool you should have used to actually help you in this fight, because we had biometric database of people who use telephones. You get my point? I heard the governor of Kaduna State saying bandits and Zamfara and this were making calls. Oh, beautiful. You have the clue. In security work, you need a clue to help you unravel whatever you want to unravel. So if people are making calls, whether they reside in the forest or they reside in the town, it helps. You'll be able to narrow down to certain area, you need this, you need that. But now, it's like those in charge see as the easy way out, believing that when you shut down. In places we have done, these things have been done, shutting down of telecom services. Have you evaluated the effectiveness? What we are losing, in terms of, opportunities, business, and so many things. Are we taking, note of that? So, to me, that's one aspect that I am not totally comfortable with, because when criminals use telephones, it helps you. If you are truly interested in getting at them, it really gives you a clue as to maybe the location or who is making a call. You get my point? But now when you shut it down, will that bring about the end of banditry? I don't know. I'm just, raising a poster. So, but, in those places, they do a lot of damage using Okada. They do it there too. But in that part of the country, bandits, all those things, kidnappings, they do most of these atrocities on using bikes. You understand my point? You see like 100. So when you hear that they kidnap 200, children, you will be expecting that maybe they use a Marco Polo bus. No. They usually, use, motorbikes. So now, if you're able to stop that and you seek, the understanding of commercial trade, that's a beautiful one. There are other things they are doing that I think is commendable. You get my point? But this aspect of telecom, I'm not too sure that is the right decision.
All right. That said, we will, get more reactions on this now, from across the divide. But in the meantime, BKO, I would also, want you to speak to another burden. What must be another burden on the Kaduna State Government, and that is the recurring violence and, killings in southern Kaduna. And, up until this point now, we've had another fresh spate of attacks. More than 50 people said to be killed. But to what extent do these fresh security measures, to what extent does it appear to you that these measures would address the violence there decisively?
The steps that the government has taken are largely targeted at banditry. In southern Kaduna, we are witnessing both banditry and terrorism and sectarian violence. The sectarian violence looks very much like terrorism. The sectarian violence that is going on there looks very much like terrorism because these are unprovoked attacks. There are people who have chosen not to forgive one another. There are communities, there are ethnicities that have chosen not to forgive one another and have continued the killing campaign for years. And as I've said repeatedly, the killings in southern Kaduna will stop when the people decide that they want to forget the past and look forward to a future of peace. It happened in Mambila. The natives and the Fulanis were killing themselves. At a point, even Mr. President had to go there. Then they had a stakeholders meeting. And they told themselves, look, are we crazy? We've lived for so many years. How come we are killing ourselves now? And they made up their minds that they will no longer kill themselves. And that was it. Today, the killings that were reported in 2017 in Mambila no longer, they don't happen anymore. So we need concerted efforts geared towards achieving peace in southern Kaduna, and everyone involved must be honest, because we face a situation in which people claim to be interested in peace, but in the real sense, they are not interested in peace. That's why we still have these recurrent killings over there. But in my view, these measures that we have seen are targeted at defeating banditry, because banditry is a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem, and virtually all the local governments in Kaduna State are affected. Somebody was saying that only 2 local governments, you can say only 2 local governments are safe, because even Zaria, in Zaria, you don't have problem, the kind of problem that we have in southern Kaduna. But banditry is a big problem in Zaria. It's a big problem. They're even attacking hospitals to go and abduct patients. So I think that the bigger problem that they are addressing that they see as a bigger problem because it affects a lot more local governments is this issue of banditry in Kaduna State. So we just hope that the efforts of the armed forces would be good enough to put an end to the problem of violent banditry in that state.
All right, gentlemen, let me at this time now bring in the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Mr. Samuel Arwan. Welcome to Journalist Hangout Thursday edition. He joins us via Zoom, of course, for more discussion on containing the violence across Kaduna State. Welcome to the program once again. But how confident is your government about, these fresh moves that Governor Nasir El-Rufai is bringing to contain the violence there? We can start with the issue of the ban or the shutdown of telecom services, Okada measures, and a host of others.
Thank you for having me. What I would want you to understand, for a very long time, there has been clamor for a uniform approach across Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, Kaduna, and Niger State. And considering the fact that if you don't have a simultaneous operation in all the concerned states, possibility is there that once you are carrying out operation in one state, the bandits who are hibernating and highly mobile will move to another state. And at the end of the day, we will not be able to have a solution or an end to this problem. Now, coming back to your question, in view of the fact that governors of the concerned state have been meeting, security agencies that are also covering the concerned state have also been meeting, and we now have a harmonized approach to this issue. So it was collectively resolved that there's a need to shut down telecom services in some parts of the state where we are having these problems. And I'm happy to inform you that from the shutdown that have commenced here in Kaduna, we have started recording some successes that I will not be able to talk about them so that we don't compromise or jeopardize what we are doing. But we are confident that this will help us in the move or in the campaign against banditry, kidnapping across the northwestern states that are affected by this problem, alongside with Niger State and Plateau and Nasarawa in the north central. So we are optimistic.
Against the rationale for shutting down telecom services in these areas, as you have explained to us and in your correspondence now to relevant bodies on this issue in Kaduna State, there's also some mounting concern as to, what about captives in these bandits' detention, so to speak? If these telecom services are shut down, how then, what happens, or what is the fate of these captives who are still with the bandits?
Well, first and foremost, we are concerned about that. We are compassionate. We have empathy for people that are in captivity. But what is important is we have to stand up, we have to be firm, we have to be on our feet and take hard decisions. And if you follow the trend in Zamfara, considering the fact that communication is key, communication is very vital in the course of negotiation for ransom. We have cases where the bandits were left with no option than to let the people go. And I want you to know, or I want to reiterate, that communication is an important and vital component as far as banditry is concerned. Apart from the fact that they get money from a ransom, there must be a medium of communication that would help them, or that will aid facilitation of ransom, where the person who will take the ransom will be, where those in captivity will be free. So we are concerned about that. But like I said, we have to stand up, we have to do something. This is a threat. It is affecting us badly. It is a threat to education and learning. It is a threat to healthcare service delivery. It's a threat to food security. It is gradually collapsing rural economy, and we have to do something. And when you look at the space, the 6 states that are affected by banditry, that is the frontline state and the north, it's a huge, it has a huge land mass. It has a huge ungoverned space. When you look at Zamfara, it's about 39,762 square kilometers. Katsina is 24,192 square kilometers. Sokoto has 25,973 square kilometers. Kebbi has about 36,000 square kilometers. Kaduna is 46,053 square kilometers. And above all, Niger has 76,363 square kilometers. So you can see you are dealing with a vast part of this country. And if we don't stand up to do something, we really don't know what awaits us from the future. And if you look at the gradual movement or relocation of our insurgents from the northeast who are gradually moving to this space, you realize that we have to stand up and do something. We have to do something. We are left with no option. All that we need is support. All that we need is for people to understand that the need to do this is inevitable. And for a very long time, like I said in the beginning, people keep on clamoring for the fact that there is a need to have a regional strategy. And we now have a regional strategy. Governors are speaking at their own level. Commissioners of security or other focal persons who are managing internal security in their state are also speaking. And if you look at the concerned state, we have 2 divisions. One division, Nigerian Army, covers Niger, Kaduna, Kano, and Jigawa. 8th division is in Sokoto, which covers Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, and also Zamfara. And the Air Force are here. So the military have their own cooperation and partnership. The states, using the offices of the governors, are also having their own partnership. And we are having a tripartite collaboration. We are sharing information. We are doing peer review. And with this, we believe that we can be able to make inroad. If you look at the report that were issued by Defense Headquarters today, in the course of the ongoing operation, about 391 bandits were neutralized. About 60 suspected bandits have also been arrested. We are not saying that with what we are doing, we can be able to overcome this banditry within a twinkle of an eye. Because if you look at the history of banditry, if you look at the evolution, how it was metamorphosing from one level to another, you will agree with us that it is a problem that have become what it is today as a result of, it's an accumulation of problems that were left unattended. That was what brought us to where we are today. And we must do something. And that's why we are appealing to our citizens. Yes, we knew there's going to be problem, there is going to be severe pains, but they have to understand that collectively we have to make sacrifices so that we serve the best for the last.
Mr. Arwan, we'll get back to you for more on the government's position of these fresh measures to curtail security and other tensions. At the moment, we'll take a break and get back to discussions on Journalist Hangout on TVC News. Stay with us. Thanks a lot for staying with us on Journalist Hangout, and we still have the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan. Thanks for staying on with us. Well, let's also look at another bit of the concerns on the security situation in the country. But let me allow BKO to come in here.
Okay, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, I want to know what steps are being taken to stabilize the Briningwari area, because Briningwari has been such a big problem for years, and its closeness to Niger State, especially Rafi local government in Niger State, doesn't appear to help the cause of the Kaduna State government in terms of securing lives and property across board. What steps are being taken to stabilize that area, keep the highways safe, and keep the people generally safe?
Okay, BKO, you are quite correct that the Benawari end of Kaduna State has a lot of corridors through which bandit hibernate from Katsina, Zamfara into Kaduna and up to Niger. Now, for some strategic reasons, I will not be able to divulge some of the operational plans that the military, the DSS, and the police have been working on. But I want you to know that from Densado in Zamfara to Gweska in Benungwari, because we share boundaries, there is now a standing troops who are carrying out aggressive fighting patrol. The same thing, there is also troops around Polwire who are equally carrying out aggressive fighting patrol from Polwire to Gagafada up to the boundaries with Niger that will link up to are you with me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, now from Polwire to Gagafada, there is troops that are working in that general area up to the boundaries with Niger State that will link up to Erena, Korebe, Alawa in Niger. And the Nigerian Air Force is equally complementing ground troops, forming a lot of blocking force within this corridor. Now, from the other side of Birnungwari, that is talking about Nasibi, Kwasa, Kutemeshi, Damari axis that link up to Sabua local government in Katsina State. We also have troops and Air Force who are working within that axis. You may wish to know that even last week, the troops actually came in contact with the bandits, and they were able to contain them. So a lot of activities are going on within that belt. But I must admit here that we are having problem within the Kaduna-Birnungwari route from Buruku to Angwenu Yako to Ladi to Kuriga to Zonkoro up to the point that we get into Birnungwari, because the bandit straddle this axis when they are coming from the Rima, Uchidendam or Galadima general area, trying to link up to Damba, Kasaya, Kangwon Kadi axis. So we are getting a lot of challenges around that area. But as we speak, in view of the shutdown and the ongoing operations, I want to assure you that we are taking cognizance of all this. And a lot is happening within that axis that I don't want to talk about, but I am assuring you that we're conscious of the problem and we are leaving no stone unturned as far as this axis is concerned. It is very strategic because it links Kaduna and Niger, it links Kaduna and Zamfara. It links Kaduna to Katsina and small corridors that we have with Kebbi and Sokoto states.
Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs in Kaduna State, Samuel Arwan, thank you very much for speaking with us on Journalist Hangouts on TVC News.
You're welcome and thank you.
Let's move on to another subject for discussion. It's the cost of food and other essential commodities, which is a testy matter that arouses emotions, various degrees of emotions for many Nigerians. The rising cost of food, goods and services in Nigeria has now attracted the attention of the House of Representatives following a motion by a member, Ibrahim Isiaka from Ogun State. The House has now set up a special committee to investigate the high cost of food items and other commodities in the country. And that committee is to be chaired by the Deputy Leader of the House, Peter Akpatasin from Edo State. To what extent, or to how confident are you that this intervention, if I can use that word, of the House of Reps, what are your sentiments toward this move generally?
If you watch the session, I was glad some of them were very, very honest enough to say that there's nothing to investigate here. Everybody knows the problems. That we only want to investigate what we know. That the state of the economy is bad. The economy is not productive. The government is not, the fiscal and other monetary, policies of government are not helping matters. They all said it at the floor, so it's not. So they said, across Nigeria, especially where security is still a big deal, farmers are not farming. You get my point? These are the things they said at the floor, not that farmers are still having crisis.
And these are realities.
They are honest enough to admit, and I like that. The same government, I think the president said recently, blaming middlemen and all that. I disagreed. That his government is increasing electricity tariff. His government is increasing, fuel prices.
So these are rippling
His
effect.
government is increasing, taxes. So what do you, for this year alone, go and check it. The least inflation, figure we got from the National Bureau of Statistics is 17%. It's usually 20, 18, 19, 21, and all those. And that's a lot. So when you look at it economically, almost everything is wrong. Let me put it that way. Nothing is right. So when you look at why are we suffering, I believe it's going to get worse unless a lot of things, change. And we are not seeing any sign that things will change. Nigerians are really suffering. If you know the level of hunger in our country, we are talking about security. It's just one aspect. What is worse than security is hunger in the land. Many people cannot afford, food items. Many people can't eat twice a day. I'm talking about people that are working. I'm not talking about the jobless. If you look at the figures of joblessness in Nigeria, I was in a program today, and when they were reading out figures, Nigeria is the second jobless country in the whole world. I was shocked. You get my point? So when you look at all of this, so when the House of Reps, well, it's okay, it's their job, oversight, investigate, but I'm happy that majority of those who spoke at the, during the program said there is no need to set up any committee, that we have too many committees already, that the issues are known to every Nigerian. You get my point? So I've mentioned some of them. How many times, when you're increasing taxes, you don't know what you're doing? When you're increasing electricity tariffs, you don't know that you are hitting at the jugular of the masses, the poor. When you are increasing petroleum products, you get my point? So all these things, when you put them together, add to the problems of banditry. Everybody has been saying, this government, please declare bandits as terrorists. Has that happened? The benefit will be there because we'll be able to deal with them squarely without thinking about repercussions in terms of litigations or human rights or whatever. You get my point?
Abuses.
That has not happened. And they are doing worse things. In fact, some of the things Boko Haram are doing. You get my point? So, but when you look at this, the harm these bandits are causing to the farming sector in Nigeria. So when you cannot farm, you cannot go to your farm, your farm activities cannot take place, then what do we do? Do you know of among all our food items, beans, the most expensive now to touch? Beans. That's one thing that many Nigerians rely on to get their protein. You get my point? Now it is the most expensive. Go and try it in the market.
All right. BK, what do you make of this move?
Well, I thank them for at least talking about this. They are representatives of the people, and that someone can move this motion shows that at least they are concerned. Yes, they are very comfortable people, but the truth is they have constituents, and those constituents make unceasing demands from these lawmakers because life has become unbearable for a lot of those constituents. So they won't leave these people alone. They will keep making demands, demands, and demands. The problem of food inflation in our country is caused largely by insecurity. Insecurity as well as the exchange rate. Some of the food items that we even the government said no, don't import. We don't have enough, and that's why when you read the MBS's report, the report about the inflationary trend for last month, they were talking about the price of bread, cereals, milk, cheese, egg, oil, fats, cocoa, and other things. We do not have enough of these things. So if you now say, oh, you are not going to allow them to bring in milk, do we have enough? Are we producing enough? And if we don't have enough, then the price will naturally go up. It's a function of demand and supply. Why is the dollar, for example, inconsistent? Why do Nigerians consistently go for the dollar? Because we have plenty of naira notes that a lot of the corrupt people in our society are bent on converting to naira. I mean to dollar. Because that is a stable store of value. They would rather convert it. If it was even, countries like South Africa, UAE, the exchange rate is stable. In our own case, the exchange rate volatility is something that people don't even want to deal with. Why do airlines, for example, prefer to go to Ghana? Because in our country, the volatility, the exchange rate volatility ensures that even some of the gains that they make are eroded in no time. So manufacturers are struggling to produce. Some of them are closing their production lines because they do not have access to dollar to bring in raw materials. They have to go to the black market. A lot of them patronize the black market. By the time they produce stuff for you and I, in order to stay in business, they must increase the price. It's everything. If you buy, ask those who sell cars now, for example, the prices of cars have gone sky high because of the exchange rates. And that's not all. If you want to fix your car, you have mechanical problems with your car, the prices of spare parts have also gone sky high. That is exchange rates. So if you are traveling, you are traveling from one state to another, all of those things, the drivers will factor all of that into your fare, because they know that spare part prices have gone up. Look at bread this year. Earlier this year, 250 naira.
For the
For a
large
loaf,
size.
yeah, for that slice
Small
bread.
one.
Today it is 650. 650. And people can't do without
People
eating bread.
must eat bread.
Now, yam is so expensive now, to the point that our people, for the first time in history, our people are now buying sliced yam. You slice yam into like 3 or 4 parts. People are now buying. They want to eat it.
To at least have a taste.
They
Even
want
if
to eat
it may not be enough.
but they can't afford the big one. The same thing with rice. Despite all the effort that we have made, by way of energizing rice production, rice produced domestically still remains extremely expensive, because people will factor in the fact that they can't produce enough because of
safety.
insecurity and transport costs too rising as a result of other factors. I was talking about beans. The last time I checked, beans was 71,000 naira for a bag.
Of a bag.
So, if anyone told you that to get to that point, you would argue, say, no, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. But we are seeing this happen. Tomatoes, everything has gone up. So, that they can talk about it, suggest in a way that, look, they are not totally detached from the rest of us. At least they can see that Nigerians are suffering, and they are looking at how do we solve this problem.
All right.
We cannot solve the problem if we
BK,
do not fix the exchange rate, and if we don't fix the insecurity.
Ololade, welcome. Apologies for keeping you.
Thank you very much. I want to speak regard to the rising security in Kaduna State.
Carry on, please.
One is the source, because when you look at Kaduna have the highest military formation. There is the first mechanized division in Kaduna. There is NDA in Kaduna. Then there is military school in Zaria. And we also have the Air Force base in Mando, Kaduna.
Yes.
But in spite of this, healing is the other of the. But what I think is happening here is that inability to produce one another. The leaders are meeting, but when they meet, they only meet and discuss on them what has happened. But thereafter, another thing is here. What I'm asking for is total forgiveness. Without that, I don't know. He told probably that Kaduna State with every military person to see how this type of thing. Look at, he started during the regime of Babangida. The only time they have a rest of mind was when one military administrator was in Kaduna State, the pastor of the Lawa Jafar, who read a riot act to everybody. It was then that there was peace in Kaduna. But since then again, look at what we are witnessing now. The political leaders and leaders of the Hausa community.
Thank you very much, Ololade from Ilorin. In response to what BKO has said, Adekule, how do you think, because surely the state of the Naira must come before the House of Reps as they strive to intervene on the economic situation in Nigeria. Looking at the moves, as you said, the policy, the fiscal policies and all that, what approach, how can the House of Reps, how can these honorables, come in here?
Well, you know them, they will move motions, they will do resolutions at the end of the day. You know, they are not the executive arm of government, and most of the things that happen in the economy, you know, their own job is not beyond the passing laws, helping the executive to succeed and all that. But the ball stops on the table of the executive. You get my point? But in a democracy, conversation is like the oxygen that keeps life going. So keeping this conversation is even one beautiful thing. I like that just as Jide said, they are comfortable, but they are also
feeling it somehow.
I mean, let's say their constituents are feeling it. They can't feel it. They are comfortable. You get my point? They can't feel it. But the people around them, they have millions of people around them. But whether they go to their constituency or they remain in Abuja, anywhere they go, Nigerians know them, and Nigerians want to have a slice of the opulence, you know, they are entitled to. So now, talking about it is beautiful. It shows that at least in spite of their opulence, their heart still goes out, you know, to the people, which is a beautiful thing. But let's keep talking about it, because when you look at exchange rate, to talk about the difference between official
and parallel
and
the market,
what you call the black market. I don't know why we have not done anything about it. It's one thing that is destroying this economy. It's this big, in a very, very big way. It's destroying the economy, and it's part of what is unleashing this hardship on the people. Because at the end of the day, the people in business, the manufacturers, all of that, this is where they access their forex. And when they access it at exorbitant prices, this will be passed on to the consumers. You get my point? We need to address that. We need to address it. Why is it that, you know, the Naira is losing its value every minute? We must do something about it. We can't achieve everything, but because of our country, when there's rising hunger in the land, it's an invitation to anarchy. Because all of a sudden, I pray we don't get to that point. The masses may just, you know, when people are hungry,
snap.
They will become angry. You know my point?
All right.
So that's why we should commend the House of Reps.
Well, let me interrupt you. Apologies. We have a second caller, okay. Raji from Ikorodu in Lagos here. Welcome.
Yeah. Good evening to everyone in the house.
Good evening, sir.
I agree too.
Please, honestly, the Senate that is asking or talking about what they can do concerning the cost of living. What are they going to do? Are they going to give us food? Are they going to tell those who are bringing this food stuff down south here to bring down the cost of this material? They all know what is the cost or what are the costs of this rising cost of living. They are aware. So they are just sitting there. I think it's just unnecessary diversion. I don't see what they can do there. Because most of them don't have, even if they have farm, they don't go there physically. But we know the cause of this our problem. There's nothing, and I see said, there's nothing they can do concerning this increase in food unless God intervenes for us. Because they are over comfortable. We are the ones that are feeling the pinch. They are not feeling it. So you're asking, what if they sit down till next year? There's nothing this will do to bring down the cost of living, because all of us know what are the costs. This insecurity is the major cause of this increasing what was the food stuff we are buying. We are no longer comfortable for crying out loud. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Olalade. BKO, there is gloom in the air, heavy gloom at that. And Ade Kunle has also talked about that if we're not careful, the citizenry might just snap. We are getting into 1 year anniversary, so to speak, of the destruction that was all over the place in Lagos.
That's probably one reason the National Assembly members are worried. If there is a violent combustion across our country, they are not going to be safe too.
Of course.
Some of them lost their belongings during the
NSAS. Yes.
So they know that this hunger is a time bomb. The people who don't enjoy it when we say the truth, they will not see anything wrong. It is because they are they prefer to only speak the truth in hiding. But the truth is, there's so much hunger in the land. Everything is expensive. Everything is expensive. It is not even the luxury items alone that are expensive.
Essentials.
Essentials are expensive. The amount you buy it today is not what you buy tomorrow. The dollar exchanged for 575 naira to a dollar today. That was not the exchange rate about a month ago. We were made to believe that if they stop Aboki FX from publishing exchange rates, this thing, that it will come down. But you have intimidated the man. The CBN governor even threatened him with a fight. The man has stopped publishing. But the rate is not coming down. In fact, it's going up. So what do we do? I believe that at the end of the day, what these National Assembly members will do is they will come up with a motion telling the CBN governor to shape up, telling the executive to address those problems, so that people won't say that this whole thing, in this whole thing, they kept their mouths buttoned up. They have spoken. They will say we can see people suffering and we have come out. So they are just trying to defend their own end. And I'm happy that at least they have opened up their mouth to say, look, this is wrong. You don't want to keep your hopes up. Well, BKO Adekunle Yusuf, I must thank you. You've also, given more than your own fair share of talking, at least, to keep this conversation going. School fees have gone up too, because those school owners also respond to what's going on in the market. We are all in the system. So everyone is pushing it. All right. We'll leave it at that and expect that more action to match this brilliant nuggets from you both will be expedited. Nigeria will be 61 years after all on October the 1st, which is tomorrow. Thank you very much, BKO, and you, Adekunle Yusuf. Thanks a lot. And thanks to you all out there for watching. That's our 7 for you today on Journalist Hangout Thursday edition. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow for another episode of the program. And you can also watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Don't forget to also join us on Sunday for Sunday special, rolling from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. I'm Kemi Foladi Emo for